discussed we have discussed romantic poetry, salient features of young romantic poets, works and works of Coleridge, Wordsworth, Blake. Now we come to romantic prose, and at the end I will also mention romantic drama. Though romantic age is distinguished by its poetry. Poetry is, you can say, the most significant genre of romantic era, as novel was the most significant genre of Restoration age. But we see somehow prose was written, and novel was also produced, but that novel couldn't be associated with romantic movement. Romantic novel actually more or less tried to continue the tradition of realism at that time. So first I discuss romantic prose. I begin with romantic prose, and from romantic prose I will move to romantic novel. Charles Lamb and William Hazlitt are more a significant writer of romantic prose. They have actually rendered a new idiom to prose through their literary works. Thomas de Quincey was also a significant prose writer who belonged to Romantic as well as Victorian era. Confessions of an English Opium Eater is his major work. Coleridge and Wordsworth both wrote poetry, and also you can say a rationale of their poetry and advocacy for a new types of poetry, which I mentioned through their preface to lyrical ballad, biographical literature, and Shelley also wrote defense of English poetry. Thomas de Quincey, Charles Lamb, Leigh Hunt, William Hazlitt, and other prose writers of the time revolutionized the form of the essay and gave it a new literary impetus. They rebelled against 18th century conventions. Like romantic poets, romantic prose writers also challenged the conventions of prose writing that were the prose writing of 18th century, that was philosophical, rational, and it had, you can say, least space for individualist thought. Romantic prose had focus on individual thoughts, dream, fantasies. For example, the reverie of children's dream, that was a prose by Charles Lamb. Like the romantic poets, the romantic prose writer put their own responses to experience at the very center of their work. Mean individualized experience was their famous topic. Thomas Love Peacock, he was also a writer of the time and a friend of P.B. Shelley and a worker of East India Company. he wrote a particular type of novel that is called satirical novel, and Grill Grang is example of that novel. He wrote a work that is called The Four Ages of Poetry, and Four Ages of Poetry is thought an inspiration for Shelley's essay A Defense of Poetry. Peacock's novels are unusual in making the form of mixed genre from sub-Gothic to semi-pastoral. I mean, pastoral elements and Gothic elements are merged in his work with essential element of conversation, which occasionally develops into an early kind of stream of consciousness. So, romantic prose, that is prose of dreams, imagination, and individual experience. Sometimes it was written about, you can say, political ideas like freedom, um, abolition of slavery, uh, and uh, ideal way of life. Romantic prose, you can say, added a feature that is individualized subject matter that is represented through the prose of Charles Lamb and William Hazlitt, who are thought, mm, you can say, intellectual voices of the time. But novel could not move in this direction. Romantic, even there is a statement that there is no such thing as the romantic novel. इसका मतलब ये है कि romantic novel नहीं था, romantic poetry तो थी, या romantic prose भी किसी हद तक थी, लेकिन romantic novel नहीं था. ये एक जनरलाइज्ड स्टेटमेंट है, और रीजन ये है कि जिस तरह से रोमांटिक पोइट्री ने न्यू क्लासिकल एज की कन्वेंशंस को चैलेंज किया, रोमांटिक प्रोस ने न्यू क्लासिकल एज के कन्वेंशंस को चैलेंज किया, ऐसे नॉवल जो है वो इस किस्म का कोई चैलेंज पोज नहीं कर रहा, तो इसलिए रोमांटिक नॉवल जो है वो एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता. बट देयर वर writers, even William Godwin, who was a supporter of French Revolution and idealist thinker of the time. He wrote a novel like Caleb Williams, and they were, you can say, novels of political idealism, or they were novels of political propaganda. Mary Wollstonecraft, his wife, she wrote A Vindication of the Rights of Women. That's a treatise, that's a political work or prose work, which is thought a harbinger of feminist movement. Mary Wollstonecraft also wrote a novel that is called Mary, or another novel, Saint Leon. that was by William Godwin. Daughter of Mary Wollstonecraft and William Godwin was Mary Shelley. And Mary Shelley wrote a novel that is called Frankenstein. Different male and female novelists were writing at that time, but the novelist who got distinction, that is Jane Austen. Jane Austen is, you can say, uh, in many ways, the representative of the real English novel. We have discussed English novel began with Samuel Richardson, Henry Fielding, Daniel Defoe, but that was the first phase. The more mature, developed phase of novel writing that is seen through Jane Austen. Jane Austen is uh, not only a female novelist, but as a key novelist of English literature, she emerges in history. What Jane Austen did, and no other author before her had attempted it so successfully, was to apply the techniques of the novel to acute observation of society in microcosm. Mean 3 of 4 families in a country village was the little bit 2 inches wide of ivory on which I work. So apparently, or in broader ways, the Jane Austen novel is called a realist novel. But that novel is also called novel of limited range, novel of 2 inches ivory, because she claims that she writes about the 3 or 4 families in a country village. Southern England is her focus, and in Southern England, she has produced 6 of her novels. And these novels are known for superb art of characterization, as her characters, they are distributed into categories: round character and flat character, round character which develop and flat character which don't develop uh, in novel, and her use of irony. You can say the way she amuses the audience, that's marvelous. I think later on, Charles Dickens, who in many ways the greatest novelist of English literature, he takes that, you can say, uh, ironical treatment to its apex. But it was Jane Austen who uh, made it a recognized literary experience. Use of irony, art of characterization, and you can say uh, genuine portrayal of female characters. We can see in the characters of Samuel Richardson, there was female characters who were more imaginary, more idealist, and away from real life. In Henry Fielding's novels, female characters had to face undue criticism from the part of the novelist. But the best female characters can be like Emma or Elizabeth Bennet. And these characters are seen in Jane Austen's novel. So Jane Austen has a limited range, but her art of characterization is superb. Jane Austen avoids effect, exaggeration, and excess. Going against the trend of the novels of her time, she applies the microscope to human character and motivation. With no great didactic, moral, or satiric purpose, but with a gentle irony, and perspicacity, which make her novels unique, a representation of universal patterns of behavior. It was the time of war, and the history of novel, it was the time when the Gothic novel was at its most popular. War is only touched upon slightly. For instance, the Battle of Trafalgar is mentioned in Persuasion. I mean, battles are mentioned, as in Pride and Prejudice. There is a regiment that is stationed, and uh, Wickham is part of that army. But focus is not, you can say, exposition of that part. She only presents which she knows the best. Sense and Sensibility, that is the title of one of her works, and it is a phrase, Sense and Sensibility, that sums up her philosophy, which can be seen in her five other novels, including her masterpiece, Pride and Prejudice. Sense and sensibility, the balance between feeling and reason, the balance between emotion and reason. Because under the influence of English philosopher John Locke, she had actually imagined a world where neither human being should be slave to impulses and emotions, nor they should be devoid of emotions. So she creates a balance or fine balance of sense and sensibility, feeling and reason. Northanger Abbey, Emma, Mansfield Park, these are title of her works. She continues to focus on young heroines, the contrasting Eleanor and Marianne in Sense and Sensibility, Elizabeth Bennet in Pride and Prejudice, Fanny Price in Mansfield Park, Emma in the novel that bears her name, that's an eponymous novel, Emma, and Anne Elliot in Persuasion. So first is focus is on young heroine. Best probably is Elizabeth Bennet in Pride and Prejudice, who can feel like a human being, who can behave like a composed character, and who can evaluate the situation in a humanist manner. Sisters are often contrasted, and the closely worked out plots usually involve the twists and turns of emotion in the search for love, search for marriage, happiness, and social status. Because these are the female characters and they are preoccupied with these ideas: love, marriage, family, happiness, social status. So sisters are used, as in Pride and Prejudice there are Bennet sisters. So Elizabeth can be contrasted with Jane, and Elizabeth can be contrasted with Lydia. Also, some other characters like Mary. Other novelists try to use fictional model to give moral example, mean novel को didactic बनाते हैं, to ridicule manners and morals, वो satirical novels होते हैं और सोशल कस्टम्स का मजाक उड़ाया जाता है, जैसे जोसेफ हेनरी में या टॉम जोन्स में बहुत ज्यादा है, टू डिस्क्राइब real or imagined words and ways of life. Jane Austen's achievement was to create in each novel a fully realized and populated world, strictly limited in scope, such that the reader can observe a group of characters whose emotions are recognizable, whose faults are human, whose traits are familiar. Even that लिटरेचर में और स्पेशली 20th सेंचुरी में एक कॉन्सेप्ट है कि unfamiliar inspires the reader, but we can see the familiar with adequate observation or microscopic observation gets attention of the reader in Jane Austen's novels. Her novels are often, you can say, linked with the idea of marriage and money. And because of that idea, she is ascribed different labels like a Marxist before Marx, and also she is compared with, you can say, the other writers who are known for the art of characterization, and that's why she is compared with Shakespeare as well. Jane Austen shows the form and pressure of the time on a society which was undergoing many radical changes. The questions her characters faced, anti-Jacobin, because Jacobin novel was written at that time. So anti-Jacobin, though their conclusion may be, are just as significant as the questions of social class and Irish identity. These are the questions which are discussed by her contemporary Irish novelist Maria Edgeworth. Jane Austen criticizes the gentry. Her characters stage an anarchic play in Mansfield Park. She portrays an older order of values that is changing at a time when the gap between the gentry and the poor is widening. Her young female character, in search of the best prospect for marriage, end up marrying a country clergyman or landed gentleman. So that can be a compromise, that can be a solution. I mean, they have in search of a better match for themselves, but their search, you can say, end up marrying a country a clergyman or landed gentleman. These are the things which are sometimes moved by feminist authors, because here you can see focus is only to yield to the idea of family and marriage rather than individual ideals and fulfillment of individual ideals. What Jane Austen emphasizes is community in microcosm. Mean community in microcosm or family that can be an extended evaluation of society of the time. Search for order in a world beset by chaos, threatened on all sides, not only by war or class division, but by such human fears as loneliness, uncertainty, and failure. So these are also significant aspects of her works. We can say Jane Austen is the most important novelist of the time. She continues to write novel in realist tradition. She does not exaggerate, romanticize, or add, you can say, romantic elements. Romantic elements mean dreams, wonderland, exaggerated situations, chivalry and adventures of knights. Such things are not seen in her works. Her novel is thought uh, a thorough observation of southern England, and you can say uh, dilemma of the middle class, where young female characters are in quest of their better match, upon them their happiness and their happiness and their familial future depend. She also uses a technique of caricature to ridicule, you can say, those characters who seem to her or to her narrators indecent, like Collins and um, Mrs. Bennet in Pride and Prejudice. Then we see another, you can say, aspect of novel that is associated with Walter Scott. Jane Austen's novel was novel of 2 inches ivory. That was novel of limited range. That was about, you can say, a few families of southern England. Walter Scott opened up the novel to the full panorama of revolution, dissent, rebellion, and social change. We can see the contrast of Austen and Scott. After the Napoleonic Wars, Britain entered a time of severe social unrest, of high unemployment, of widening gap between rich and the poor, employers and workers, upper middle and lower classes. These contemporary concerns, vividly espoused by writers from the poet Shelley to the social campaigner William Cobbett, are absent from Scott's work. Sir Walter Scott uses the historical framework of his novel to give a detailed portrait of turmoil. So instead of writing social realism, he prefers to write historical novel. His early novels are called Waverley novels. Uh, Waverley is also title of his novel he wrote, and then The Bride of Lammermoor. Historical novels, you can say, indirectly relate the present situation. Scott's return to history takes in many periods from the Jacobite rebellion of 1745, यानी पुराना वाकया है और उसे जो है अपने वेवरली नॉवल में प्रोजेक्ट किया, that was published in 1814. 12th century crusades in the novel Talisman, from the clash between Saxon and Norman in Ivanhoe to the time of Mary Queen of Scots in the Abbot, and on the Porteous riots in Edinburgh in the novel The Heart of Midlothian. Rob Roy is thought the best novel of Walter Scott. Walter Scott published all his novel anonymously until 118 and 27, perhaps an indication of the low consideration the novel still had until his own worldwide success. So we can see from this act of anonymous publication of his novels that novel was not privileged genre in romantic era. Poetry was, and Scott was also a poet. But he had taste for that novel writing, which is called historical novel, but uh, it got, you can say, acceptance and endorsement much later. Next trend is of Gothic. Mary Shelley is best known for her work Frankenstein, that is much read novel even in 21st century. Her parents were political activists, father a radical political philosopher, and mother was also a radical writer responsible for famous work of vindication of the rights of women. Frankenstein is a Gothic horror story in tradition established in the late 18th century by Anne Radcliffe and William Beckford and Horace Walpole. So these were the earlier, you can say, uh, Gothic writer. Story of Frankenstein concerns the creation by Frankenstein, an idealistic scientist, of a living creature from the bones of the dead. Frankenstein is interested to create a living creature from the dead. Frankenstein believes he has found the secret of creating life, but his creation turns out to be a destructive monster with no one, not even Frankenstein, can control. क्रिएटर जो है उसने एक मॉन्स्टर क्रिएट किया और वो मॉन्स्टर जो है अपने क्रिएटर को खा जाता है. ये लिटरेचर में मिथ में एक पुराना जो है वो थॉट है, बहुत दफा जो है ये रिपीट होता रहता है कि जो क्रिएटर है वो अपनी क्रिएशन को कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकता. Frankenstein, together with other novels by Mary Shelley, such as The Last Man, Caleb Williams by her father William Godwin, and C.R. Martin's Melmoth the Wanderer, and James Hogg, The Private Memoirs and Confessions of a Justified Sinner, continued the Gothic tradition. So Frankenstein, that is received nowadays as a science fiction novel as well, that is example of Gothic novel.